in the field of music, in the field of arts, there's a hidden, untapped potential. These are very powerful technologies that affect people. So if you feed a person with a certain kind of energy through music, for example, they start to vibrate at that frequency. And it affects them. It affects their bodies, their biology, their hormonal system, their emotions, their thoughts, their mind. It affects them. And that's a very powerful thing. So imagine now, instead of vomiting an emotion, no matter how sincerely you vomit the emotion, imagine if the artist shared his art form with the purpose of helping a person go towards themselves instead of go away from themselves. Can we be straight up? Most people nowadays consume music, art forms, whether it's cinema, music, DJ sets, any kinds of art form, even fashion, as an escape mechanism so that they avoid reality. I think it's fair to say. Now, some people will argue because people are anal and like to argue because they've never investigated anything, but with a simple observation, it's easy to see. These same technologies, that means the arts, can be used if in the hands of proper individuals as a tool to bring a person back to themselves. I'm not talking about an emotion. I'm talking about towards yourself, to help remove the noise, to help integration, digestion, and alignment. So the purpose of this channel is to present, it's DJ sets. It's going to be different kinds of musics and whatnot, but it's to create a DJ set for about an hour, 2 hours, or however long we're going to decide to do it. But it's infused with a healing transmission. Some of you will not understand what I'm saying. Some of you will. Some of you may discover what I'm saying. That means the DJ is God. Why is the DJ God? Because the DJ takes the song. It's no longer the artist's song. It's the DJ's song. And the DJ infuses himself in the sound. So if it's Biggie Smalls singing, it's not Biggie Smalls singing. It's the DJ using Biggie Smalls in order to affect you. That's the secret of a DJ. A good DJ understands exactly what I'm saying. Shout out to the DJs who know what the fuck I'm saying. So when I was a young teenager, I used to listen to, this is back in the days, to DJ sets and hip hops from the 90s on the radio. And I was like, I don't like this track. I don't like this track particularly. But this is awesome. This track has never been as good. In my entire life, I've never heard this track as good as this. Then I'd go back to my place, listen to the track solo. I'm like, this sucks. But in the set, the way it's combined, the sequence, how they're bringing it to it, how they're delivering it, at what moment, and the overall effect, well, this is the dopest thing I've ever heard. Now, this is superficial work. Nevertheless, it shows you the influence or the capacity a DJ has. So once again, I'm going to reiterate. A DJ takes the song, a real DJ that is. He takes it, it becomes his. And then now he uses it as a tool to create an effect on the person listening. So imagine now the DJ, instead of creating a ceremony, which is what you call a party, which is a ceremony of doom, right? Imagine if his intent was to guide you towards yourself. So instead of it being a party we generally think loud music, hoes, chads, whatever you want to call them, alcohol, drugs, somehow, some way, right? And people acting out and having a good time. Right, so that's a party. The flip side of it is a ceremony. And the difference between a party and a ceremony is that the ceremony, a genuine ceremony, has one purpose. It's healing. It's to take you to yourself. That's the purpose of a ceremony, to bring you to the essential. Not the essential mix. The essential of what's inside of you. So that's the idea. So with this MastaKey, which is one of my names, it's the DJ name if you call it. Ceremonial name, that would be better. I'm not a DJ. My ceremonial name is MastaKey. So with this channel, our objective is to reintroduce the ceremonial aspect to music, DJ sets, and whatnot. Now, some of you could just listen to the music. It's dope. The sequence is awesome. The music is top tier. Bangers after bangers after bangers, because I don't do shit music. No doubt. Yeah. But for those of you who are more susceptible or more receptive to this, and you want to use it as a ceremonial tool or a healing tool or just an exploration tool, there will be an infusion of healing energy. Now, you may not understand this, and it doesn't really matter. It's for you to discover, but that's the intent of this channel. I'm going to be honest with you. So I don't know on which channel you're watching this. So if you're on the MastaKey channel, you can presume on some kind of DJ or ceremonial or MC or whatever it is. But in reality, if you go see my Sadhanami channel, which is my main channel, and you go to my website, it's going to say Medicine Man. And I don't know what else nonsense it says. Whatever a medicine man is a person who's interested in the healing of other people and assisting them to reclaim what they've lost and what is theirs. And as a medicine man, and I've spoken about this in numerous videos. As a medicine man, you discover tools, hands or tools like aligning a body, helping relieve tensions. You discover herbs, plants. There's all kinds of herbs, all kinds of plants with different effects. You start to realize the impact of words, how you can use a word to create a psychological effect in a person. Then you start discovering, you see what I'm trying to say? You discover music. I've used as a healing balm an Eminem track at some point. I said to this girl, you should go listen to this. I want you to listen 10 times. Like the priest once upon a time used to say, you can give me 108 Hail Marys. Is that what it is? Right? There's a purpose to this, even though you may not understand it or you may mock it. There was a purpose to it. So I told her, you go listen to this track from Eminem. I think I said 10 times. It doesn't really matter. And there was a purpose. Now, had she listened to the Eminem track on its own, it wouldn't do what I wanted to do it. It's because she accepted my invitation, and then my intent now is infusing her actions, and therefore it's penetrating in the track, and she's receiving what I want her to receive via that track. So anyways, all this to say, so as a medicine man, you learn that you can use all kinds of props to help your patient, your clients, the individuals you want to help who accept your invitation. The key word is accept my invitation. So if you're going to listen to my channel and you do not accept my invitation, don't give a fuck about my invitation, don't understand my invitation, as far as you're concerned, you listen to a DJ mix and it's going to be amazing. And it's all bangers because that's what we do. Ain't that what it is, dudes? So that's what all you're going to have is a great set. For those of you who accept the invitation, you're going to have a different kind of experience. And this is the work of medicine man and shaman or healer or whatever you want to call this. And it's for you to discover. Some of you know how it works, and you'll perceive it very quickly. And for those of you who don't know this, but you're curious, rest assured, you will not be possessed by demons. And it's going to be smooth sailing and kind and gentle and sweet, but also sharp. That's what I have to say. In 2015, I was throwing a party, and I'm a medicine man. This is what I am. I don't fuck around. I don't party. I don't take drugs. Any of this shit doesn't interest me. I've done it. I've had a nice career, but that's not where I'm at in my life. And in 2015, yeah, I was launching my book, and my book is called The Human Experience. So it's a deep, profound book for profound individuals, and so you heard about kirtans and people singing and shit like this. This is not my style. I grew up listening to a certain kind of music. I have nothing against kirtan. It's just too Hindu for me, if you'd like to say, if we can say it like this. And I wanted so I had an issue. I always had an issue with DJs. I'm gonna be straight up with you, because most DJs, let's be honest, they kind of suck, right? And the track selection is just like, oh. And I was like, I'm going to invite a DJ at my party and I'm going to be annoyed because the track sucks, and they're going to bring and infuse the space with an intent that I'm not aligned with, and that's not what the party's about. So you have to kind of like work hard to find a kind of DJ who kind of understands what you're saying, but they kind of never do. So I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to DJ. So at the time I had never officially DJ'd. I had done mixtapes and, like on my cassettes. I never DJ'd in an official event where people are listening, and that's the goal. And I was very happy to do so. I was a little stressed. I said, fuck it, I'm doing it. So I had to learn a bunch of things, the mixing, the console, and all this nonsense. And then I decided to put my attention on the music and the tracks. And I had not listened to As a person in the field of DJing, for example, starts to listen to a lot of music. When you're not in the field, unless you're a Spotify consumer and you're obsessed and need music all the time because you can't stand yourself, like my neighbor, right? You don't listen to as much music. So I immersed myself in music and I saw the effect. I'm like, this music is like, every track coming from an artist is full of something, right? So if I give that to a person, let's say I'm a DJ or I make my friend listen to this, they're going to receive all this noise. Even if it's nice, noise is noise. It could be good noise, good in the sense it's nicely orchestrated, but it's noise is noise. And it's all the musician's mind is there and their emotional turmoil or the intensity. It doesn't really matter. So that troubled me. And that's why in India they'll do kirtan, which is holy singing, and it's pure and it's mantra, so we remove all of the emotional filth and we can focus on the essential. Of course, I understand why they do that, but I'm a Westerner and we want to have a party. We want to dance, in other words, a certain kind of dance. So that's when I started. I already understood this concept, but now it's like in the format of a set with, let's say, numerous people versus one. So I realized what I was doing. This is medicine man work. You may not understand. You literally take the track in, and every person who's a DJ does that. He's just not conscious of doing this. You literally take the track in. You got to digest the track. Like when you eat an apple, or you eat a piece of cheese, or you eat a pizza, or you eat a souvlaki, or you eat whatever, right? You have to take it in, and your body, the fire of your body has to digest it. And now it penetrates your cells and becomes part of you. It's exactly the same with the track. So I had to take it in and digest it, and I have to go and process it and break apart its construct. Every song has a construct, there's a matrix around it. And some artists, their construct is very strong, like RZA. That's a strong fucking mind, very intellectual, and it's connected to his spiritual foundations. So if you listen to his music, there's layers, and most people only catch one or two. No, it goes far. So you have to go through the construct of the track all the way to as far as the artist is able to go so that you can digest it, and now it's your track. That means you become the master of the track. And now I can establish a construct that's greater or more all-encompassing of whatever it is the artist created. It's my track now. And now I can somehow, when you play it, although I'm using his music, his emotion, it's no longer his, it's mine. Now this is deep. Some of you are not going to understand this. Some of you will. Shout out to you. I'm happy to entertain you. The point is, that's how I began in the DJ context. I wanted to do it more than one person, to a group of people over an evening. And let's say the idea came to me. Of course, I've gone to raves and whatnot. So these are ceremonies. Let's be straight up. But these are ceremonies of self-destruction. And I'm not saying this in a negative way or like judgment. It's just what it is. It's a ceremony of self-destruction. That means let's go as far as possible from ourselves and trip. I've gone through this, but that was very, 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 very powerful experiences for me to witness. And I remember walking in those rays on whatever drug I was on and just like taking it in and like going to the center of the space and just like staring at the DJ and watching the fiasco around me and how people responded in the darkness, right? Now, I guess things have changed. It's less underground and it's more popular and it attracts all kinds of people who just want to go there so they have a picture and they could post it on Instagram. But back in the days, before Super Tiesto, there was still an element of it that was kind of countercultural or a little more underground. So there was something about it that unconsciously all the people that went there were like ceremonying countercultureness, if that makes any sense to you. And I remember watching this and being very fascinated by this and seeing how people are affected by the drugs, the substances, and the music, and what effects it creates in them, and what they become after the ceremony or the party or the rave. And for the most part, they start going on a very clear trajectory. Right? I found that fascinating. So I witnessed these things, so I got a sense of the power of those such spaces. And years later on, I went to some kind of like, those conscious parties, raves, festivals, whatever those things. They're not conscious, but they pretend to be conscious. But let's say it's the theme of consciousness. So once I was there, but it became popular just before. I'm a 90s guy, so I get to experience everything when it's gaining momentum, but before the tipping point, before it becomes pop. So I was one of those festivals before it becomes pop, and motherfuckers was on LSD and shit like this. And I will never forget, and the guy who was playing the music, I won't name his name, he wasn't your average kind of fellow. He was some kind of guru, whatnot guru. Of course, some of you are going to be scared. He wasn't an ordinary person, right? He definitely had specific psychic powers, and he was doing DJing. And I was much, much, much younger at the time. And I remember, I'll never forget this. I experienced the vortex that he created when he began his ceremony, which is a party with drugs and everybody's on LSD. And so there was a cohesiveness. And I was, what the fuck is going on? I kind of freaked out. Because it was something. It was something to experience. And I didn't want to really be there and had no idea what I was getting into. So I kind of like felt out of place. And I felt aggressed and violated. This is my prerogative, right? But that's because I was a little dumb. I was out of place and a fucking moron. But nevertheless, so that like really, forget the negative experience. The power of it, the potentiality of it, really left an imprint in my mind. Shout out to that dude. I said, what the fuck don't I do that? I want to do that. But I had other things to learn and master. Because in order to be able to be a powerful medicine man, you need to learn a lot of things. So you can play music, and you're right. There's all kinds of people, man. They sit down with their bowls and they ring them bowls and do all kinds of things. But what the fuck do they know about healing? Generally, what they do is crack open people, and that cracking open creates an experience for the person. That's not healing. Healing, you have to understand how the body works. You have to understand the nuances and the different parts of the body. You have to understand how health works in a greater subject. It's a vast subject. So my teachers were like, no, you're not going to touch this. You're a moron. First, you have to understand ABC before you can read, before you can go to the library, before you can get to an encyclopedia, and before you're going to write a book. First, A, B, fucking C. So I followed my teacher's guidance, thank God. Otherwise, you fuck around with people, you don't know what you're doing. So that's not my goal. And at some point, it was the time. And we can say that was like the turning point. I had an opportunity. I wanted a DJ. There was none. I said, I'm going to do it. And I did it. So I started to take in a lot of songs, a lot of tracks. It was a process to digest. It takes a lot of energy to digest. It was a moment, nevertheless. And then I had my event, and I dished it out as best as I knew how. But I knew how to select songs. I knew how to do the medicinal aspect of it. I knew how to hold space, and it was like technicalities, nuances of mixing, which are important, but quite frankly, between me and you, it's a detail. If you know how to select songs and create a space, you've got 90% of the job done. And then it's just how to make everything smooth, right? Like slipping in rather than frictional. You know what I mean? Okay, so that's how I got into this. And after this, I started doing ceremonies 4, 5, 6, 7 times a year. I started doing them on every full moon. Then I said, this is taking too much energy. So I stopped the full moon thing because it's just taking too much energy. Then I started doing them 4 times a year on solstices and equinoxes. And then sometimes I have play nights, but these are like just fucking around. It's not ceremonial. So let's say I do it 4 times a year. Easily. I think it's fair to say. So then I hold spaces, private sets with people who understand my work, appreciate my work, want to hang out, want to go through this washing machine, this grind. And I'd like to think that they enjoy because they always come back and they don't mind to pay either. And they love my bangers. And also, let's be straight up, this is the artist in me. It's MastaKey talking. You see, he's a little cocky. Right? Unfortunately, I didn't bring my jersey with my name on. Anyways, so and also through this process I use, for the people who are listening, it's a musical education for the people who have ears to hear. Because in this mix, in the first mix you're going to have, it's like one kind of music. And then we'll do a couple of mixes like this. But the way I do ceremonies, I don't have one kind of music, a mix. The sets are generally 7, 8 hours, sometimes more, sometimes a little less. And I mix different kinds of genre of music because all kinds of music have all kinds of different effects. Like classical music will give you some kind of banger that your techno track is not going to be able to do. And then if you want to bring in some reggae, it's going to have some kind of effect. So each music has its own nature, let's put it this way. And I can use it in this to create a certain kind of effect. All this to say, welcome to the MastaKey channel. I hope you enjoy. Those of you who are going to embark on a journey and listen to the music, I would love to hear what you got to say. Assholes abstain. That means if you're an idiot and you ain't got nothing positive to say, get the fuck out of here. If you enjoyed it, leave a comment. It's great to know what's going on, that there's actual people listening to this stuff. And if you don't know what the fuck I'm saying, but the mix is great and the track selection is top tier, drop a like. Drop a like. That's what I gotta say. The name MastaKey is the appropriate name for my ceremonial name because I have a MastaKey and I unlock doors. It's MastaKey A.K.A. Cosmic Bliss A.K.A. DJ Goyim. I have a bunch of other AKAs, but that'll be enough for today. MastaKey, baby. What's up? So the brother asked me what it is to open doors. You're going to have to take the set. You're going to have to accept the invitation. You're going to have to give yourself the opportunity to enjoy. And then you understand why the MastaKey opens the doors. Many, many doors. You're going to see. Right? Don't you take drugs? You have the impression they open doors? Well, the MastaKey kind of does something like that. See, we're talking about MastaKey in the third person. Or maybe I'm talking about an actual MastaKey. Who the fuck knows? Let's move on. When I use the track of an artist, it's because he's fucking brilliant. And I really, really appreciate brilliance in all its forms. And I appreciate the brilliance of musicians. I know that they put everything they got in it. I know they sacrifice a lot. Sometimes they sacrifice more than they would like, more than they even know. And I have a genuine appreciation and a heartfelt love for their craft. And when I utilize their tracks for a medicinal mix or a ceremonial context, ceremony unlocks energy. For the people who are present, it also serves as a crucible. It's like a fire. Let's say it's a fire in the forest, but it's a big fire, let's put it this way, depending on the size of the ceremony, number of participants, and the intent. So the people who are next to the fire are definitely going to benefit from the fire, but also the elements, the wood, whatever sparked the fire itself, the paper that helped the fire go, the rocks around, the woods, literally the trees around. Everything, all the elements that participate in the ceremony get blessings. So in this case, we're talking about music. The artists that generated the elements in order for the ceremony to take place will receive blessings. And, there's all kinds of powers in life that share love. I don't want to use the word angel because some people are going to think about angels, but it's angelic powers that give blessings when whatever you do is used in a ceremonial context. And also you'll notice in my description that I thank the architects, producers, and distributors of technologies. That means YouTube, your computer, your sound system, electricity, all those things that make it that we have access to all this wealth. There's people who give their lives to this. And of course we take them for granted. And I understand why, because it's just, it's like everyday life. Who cares at the end of the day? Like the camera that we're using and the sound systems and the internet itself and the microphone that, all these technologies that we don't consider, all these have been created by people who put all their life force into it. And once again, in the context of a ceremonial experience, they receive blessings because without them, without their efforts, without their incessant work, we wouldn't have access to all of this, and you wouldn't be listening to me on YouTube because we wouldn't have a camera, a stand, all the stuff. So that's the beautiful thing about ceremonies. Everybody receives, everybody who's participated from close or far receives. And I'm happy to oblige. I genuinely care about people. They really put all of themselves into this. And for the most part, I don't want to be negative, but what do we use these technologies for besides self-destruction and getting away from reality? So in this, it's a tool. The tool could be used for running away or going towards oneself. And I feel privileged to be in a position to use these technologies and tools to help people go towards themselves. And in the process, the people who worked on these technologies and receive blessings because they participated in Dharma. That's deep for a DJ channel.